Subscribe and give a like to tomorrow's Intelligence podcast.
We're diving into AI and the environment today. We've got some really interesting source material you sent over, an episode script from a fictional podcast. It's called Tomorrow's Intelligence. And it tackles this big question of, can AI actually be a key player in this whole fight against climate change and protecting the planet?
I think what's really cool is that the source doesn't present it like this magical, like fix-it-all solution. It really dives into the potential, but also the limitations and even potential downsides.
Yeah, it frames the whole discussion around this question of, can AI really save the world? And I think the answer is going to be more nuanced than just yes or no. And the source kind of kicks off by exploring how AI is being used to analyze all this climate data. So think like satellite imagery, weather patterns, ocean temperatures. It's like having the superpowered detective for the planet.
And it really dives into how this data analysis can help us understand the progression of climate change and pinpoint areas that might need more immediate intervention.
Yeah.
This is where things like machine learning models come in, where AI is trained on huge data sets to predict future climate trends and identify potential tipping points.
No, it's all about getting ahead of the curve, predicting where and how climate change will hit the hardest, and then how to mitigate those impacts.
Exactly.
But here's where it gets interesting. The source really emphasizes that AI can provide the solutions, but it's up to us humans to actually implement them.
Technology can kind of point us in the right direction, but it can't force us to walk the path.
Right.
And the source highlights some of the challenges that we need to address, like the energy consumption of these massive data centers that are powering AI. So this is where the discussion of sustainable practices within the AI community itself becomes crucial.
It's almost ironic, right? We're using energy-intensive technology to combat climate change. The source talks about some specific solutions being explored, like using renewable energy to power the data centers, or even designing more energy-efficient algorithms.
And there's some exciting research going on with these neuromorphic chips.
Oh, wow.
That's chips that actually mimic the way the human brain processes information using way less energy than traditional computer models.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's like taking inspiration from nature to make AI more sustainable.
So it's not just about using AI to combat climate change, but also making AI itself more environmentally friendly.
Exactly.
And then the source dives into this other really fascinating application, AI's role in managing and distributing renewable energy sources like wind, solar, hydro.
And this is where you have that concept of smart grids come into play. The grids use AI to predict energy demand and optimize the flow of electricity from a bunch of different sources, including renewables, and it makes the system a lot more efficient and reliable.
So AI can help us transition to a future powered by clean energy by making those sources more predictable and manageable.
Exactly. Imagine a system that knows when your neighborhood's going to need the most power, maybe during a heat wave or when everyone's getting home from work, and then it adjusts the flow of energy from solar panels, wind turbines, and other sources to meet that demand in real time. That's the power of AI in managing our energy future.
That's amazing.
But even here, as the source points out, there's challenges that we have to consider. Building the infrastructure for renewable energy, like solar farms and wind turbines.
Right.
They can have their own environmental footprint.
So it's a very complex equation with lots of different factors. It's not just about switching to renewables, but making sure that transition is also done in a sustainable way.
Absolutely.
Which leads us to another area where AI is really making waves, and that's using AI to protect ecosystems.
Yeah.
And the source gives some cool examples, like using AI to analyze camera trap footage to identify and track endangered species, or even detect poaching activity in real time.
AI can also analyze a ton of data on animal movement patterns.
Yeah.
Which can then inform habitat protection strategies and help us create these better conservation efforts.
It's like a 247 guardian angel.
Yeah. In a lot of ways it is. You're right. It's about using the power of AI to monitor, analyze, and respond to threats in a way that we couldn't do with just human effort alone.
Right.
But and this is a really important point that the source brings up.
Yeah.
Even with the best intentions, there's potential downsides to consider.
Like what?
Well, for instance, using AI to track animal movements raises questions about surveillance and whether we're interfering too much with natural processes.
It's a good point. It's a reminder that even when we're trying to do good, we need to think about the consequences
Right.
of our actions and how we use these powerful technologies.
Totally. And this leads to another key point that the source really emphasizes.
Hmm.
AI, for all its potential,
Yeah.
is not this magical solution. It can't just single-handedly solve climate change or, like, magically protect all our ecosystems.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
And like any tool, it's got its limitations.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest ones is its own carbon footprint.
Right.
Training these powerful AI models needs a crazy amount of energy.
Yeah.
And that energy often comes from non-renewable sources.
It's like we're using fossil fuels to build the tools that will fight climate change. It's a paradox.
It is.
So the source stresses this importance of developing and deploying AI sustainably.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things being done to address that?
Oh, there's so many exciting initiatives. Like researchers are experimenting with using renewable energy to power data centers.
Okay.
And they're developing more energy-efficient algorithms.
Interesting.
It's about making sure the tools we're using to build a sustainable future are themselves sustainable.
But even with all these advances,
Yeah.
I think there's this bigger point the source makes, and we can't ignore it.
Yeah. What's that?
AI can't force us to take action.
It's true. It can give us the information,
Right?
the predictions, the solutions, but it can't make us change our behavior
Yeah.
or implement those solutions on a large enough scale to really make a difference.
Yeah.
That's where we come in.
So it's partnership.
Yeah.
AI can provide the roadmap, but we have to be the ones to take the journey.
I love that. I think that's a great way to put it.
And that brings us back to that big question from the beginning. Can AI really save the world?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, it seems like it can definitely play a huge role in addressing some of these big challenges facing our planet,
Yeah.
but it's not a silver bullet.
I agree. I think it's more helpful to reframe the question as how can AI best be used to address these challenges?
Yeah, I like that.
Shifting the focus from just this binary yes or no
Yeah.
to like a more nuanced understanding
Okay,
of how we can leverage this power.
and that's what this source concludes,
Mm-hmm.
that AI is a powerful tool that can work with us, with human action and policy changes. It's about combining technology with our own, ingenuity, commitment, and will to create this more sustainable future.
And that's a great place to wrap up this part of our deep dive.
We covered a lot about how AI can help analyze climate data, manage renewable energy, even protect ecosystems.
Yeah, it feels like we're just scratching the surface, though, of what's possible.
Totally. And that's what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah,
The source doesn't shy away from the complexities either.
right.
It really wants us to think critically about how we develop and use these technologies.
Yeah, it's not just about what we can do, but also what we should do with AI. It
Is it
feels
going
like uncharted territory.
Yeah.
And we're figuring out the rules as we go.
We're at the forefront of a tech revolution, and we have this opportunity to shape where it goes.
Right.
But with that comes responsibility.
A responsibility to think critically, ask the hard questions,
Yeah,
demand transparency from the people developing and using these technologies.
absolutely. We can't just accept all the promises that AI will save us.
Right.
We got to have these discussions about the benefits and risks.
And that's what we're doing here today,
Yeah.
giving you the insights you need to make your own opinions.
Because the future of AI isn't something that'll be decided in a vacuum.
Right.
We all have a role to play.
One of the biggest takeaways from this source material is that AI isn't a replacement for human action.
Totally.
It's a tool.
It is.
It's a powerful one,
Yeah.
but still just a tool.
The source uses a great analogy.
Oh, yeah.
AI can point us in the right direction, but it can't make us walk the path.
I like that.
We still need human ingenuity,
Yeah.
creativity, and working together to solve these problems facing our planet.
We can't just outsource the responsibility for the environment to algorithms.
It's all about finding that sweet spot between human intelligence and AI,
Yeah.
working together to create a more sustainable and fair future.
Which brings us to another aspect of this whole discussion, the future of AI in climate action.
Right.
And the source ends on a note of cautious optimism.
It suggests AI could be a game changer, but only if we use it wisely.
The source makes it very clear that AI is not a solution on its own.
Yeah.
It can help our efforts speed things up and give us insights we wouldn't have otherwise.
But we have to set the goals,
Yeah,
define the values, and make sure that AI aligns with all that.
absolutely. And the source highlights the importance of partnership.
Okay.
AI working with policymakers, businesses, and people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a group effort.
Which brings up a question that the source doesn't fully answer.
What's that?
If AI is a tool, Who decides how it's used to tackle climate change and protect the planet?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
It makes you think about power, control, access.
Yeah, who benefits and who takes on the risks?
Exactly. Those aren't easy questions to answer, but we have to figure them out.
Because the choices we make today will impact the future of our planet.
And the role AI plays in that.
And that's a perfect lead-in to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore these questions more and unpack some of the implications of AI in the environmental context. We've explored a lot: the potential of AI, limitations, need for sustainable practices.
It's a lot to think about.
It really is, but I think that's good.
Yeah.
It means we're looking at all sides of the issue.
Right.
And the source really wants us to think critically about this.
Yeah.
To look beyond just like the hype and really consider everything involved.
It reminds us that technology,
Yeah.
even something like AI,
Right.
isn't like this perfect solution.
Right.
It's a tool that can be used for good or bad.
Which brings us back to that question we asked before.
Yeah.
Who gets to decide how AI is used to tackle climate change and protect the environment?
That goes beyond technology.
Yeah.
It gets into like power and politics.
Yeah.
And even social justice.
Who has a say in this?
Right.
And who benefits?
The source talks about working together.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really say if those partnerships are equal.
That's a good point.
Or if some people are left out.
Ugh. We have to be careful how these technologies are used.
Yeah.
Make sure they benefit everyone.
Right. Not just a few.
We got to ask ourselves,
Yeah.
who benefits from these technologies?
Yeah.
Who's taking the risks?
Right. Are the solutions helping everyone or making inequality worse?
We can't just assume technology will make things better.
No. We got to be involved
Yeah.
and make sure it's used for good.
And that's what we tried to do today.
Yeah.
Give you the info you need to have these conversations.
Because the future of AI and the environment
Yeah.
isn't something that just happens to us.
Right.
It's up to all of us.
So as we wrap up,
Yeah.
we want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
If you could decide how AI is used for the environment, what would you do?
What kind of world would you make?
What's important to you?
What would you change?
We want you to keep thinking about these questions.
Yeah, use your voice to make sure AI is used the right way
To protect our planet.
and create a world that's good for everyone.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.